A man dies and goes to hell. Upon getting there, he's greeted by a demon. Hello, welcome to hell. You pick a country's torture room to spend the eternity inside. The man walks down a road-like hall and sees many hellish rooms. Japan's torture room was a high-tech furnace-like room maintained by several demons. Australia's torture room was a spiky dome filled with venomous bugs and snakes, among other horrible visages. Eventually, he comes across Brazil's room, which had a long line, plenty of people who looked not too somber to get in. What's going on here? The man asks. Why is there so many people wanting to spend the eternity here? Well, you see, a man answers. In this room you're frozen solid in the morning and then stabbed by a demon all night. That doesn't sound nice. Yeah, but the freezer has been broken for ages and the demon clocks in but skips work every day. Two idiots are building a house. They just finished the framing and are starting to nail siding onto the house. While one holds the siding, the other drives the nails into it. The guy holding the siding watches as his buddy with the hammer picks up a nail out of the box, hammers it in, picks up another nail out of the box, throws it over his shoulder, picks up a nail from the box, nails it in, picks up another nail, and throws it over his shoulder, and repeats the process. What are you doing? You're throwing away half the nails we bought. Asks the guy holding up the siding. I can't use them, answers his buddy with the hammer. They're pointed on the wrong end. You idiot! Exclaims his partner. Those are for the other side of the house. A woman works in the editorial office of a newspaper and brings in a large, fresh loaf of bread. She puts it in the break room, where 8 or so old boys are sitting around drinking. She says, my husband is learning to bake and made this bread, but he made a mistake. But at that precise moment, her mobile rings and she steps out to take a call. One of the men suggests that they try the bread to determine the mistake, and the competition is on. Each grabs a slice and begins carefully eating a bite. After a few moments, the art critic is sure that he's used the wrong grade of flour and begins explaining to everyone who will listen about how a 1050 grade will produce a darker white bread. Obviously what has happened here. The movie critic is absolutely certain that her husband added too much flour during kneading, which, as he slowly describes, stimulates gluten formation and results in a dense, stodgy bread that hasn't risen as much as desired. The chief chimes in, explaining how this kind of bread needed more steam during baking, wasn't sliced with a serrated bread knife, and points out that this bread could have done better in a seasoned aluminum. The who has been silent this whole time finally spells out his dismay, chiding the scoring shape and lack of originality in presenting such a plain loaf. Such a blunder is a clear sign of a novice, and the critic is sure her boyfriend will not amount to much of a baker. The woman, long since done with her call and standing in awe of how long this discussion has gone on, blurts out, he made too much. There was a gaming addict, a senator, and a show-off standing in front of the gates of heaven. The three of them then entered through the gate, following the signs, and arrived at a room where many people were queuing up. Suddenly, God appeared out of nowhere and said, heaven is now overcrowded, so in order to be able to enter here, you will have to speak your true thoughts about yourselves in front of the magic mirror inside this room. If you speak the truth, you will be allowed inside. But if you lie, you will go to hell. After a long wait in line, the three of them finally took their turn. The gaming addict went in first and told the mirror that he believed he had truly overcome his addiction to games. Poof! The gaming addict was sent to hell. He was actually just trying to suppress his desire for gaming but hadn't really overcome it. The senator entered next, with a smug expression on his face, and said, I think I'm very handsome and I do my job well. Poof! The senator went to hell just like the gaming addict. He did a lot, but everything is so fucking terrible. Lastly, only the show-off remained. Without any nervousness, he walked in and shouted, I think. Poof! The show-off went straight to hell. He had never truly known what thinking was. A man comes home after 5 years in the army. His wife says, I had a son while you were away, he's yours. The child looks 2 years old at most, so the husband tried to argue that it can't be his, but his wife refuses to budge. After days of drinking and nagging, the man loses it, grabs a gun and shoots his wife, then himself. The man wakes up in heaven being greeted by people in bad deeds and says you were a great man who saved many lives in the army, but it also says you killed your wife and yourself. This is a tough one, so I need to ask God for help with this. The man goes to see God and explains his story. God asks the man, wait, what planet are you from? The man replies, Earth. God says he's good, let him through. Peter says, God, don't you need more time to think about this? God replies, Peter, people from Earth are really weird. I've never even been to Earth and people have been telling me for 2,000 years that I have a son there. 2 muffins were sitting in an oven. The first muffin looked over at the second and said, is it getting hot in here or is it just me? The second muffin chuckled and replied, oh, it's definitely getting a little toasty in this oven. But you know what? It reminds me of a funny story. Curiosity piqued, the first muffin leaned in closer, do tell. Well, began the second muffin, once upon a time, there was a little town called Muffinville. Everyone was a muffin, whether they were chocolate, blueberry, or even banana nut. It was a cozy and flavor-filled town. The muffins in Muffinville were known for being quite adventurous. One day, a group of muffin friends decided to go on a grand baking adventure. They wanted to explore different ovens around the world to see how baking temperatures impacted their recipes. And guess what? They chose our oven first. The first muffin's eyes widened with excitement as it thought, oh, this is bound to be a good one. Now, as they made their way into the oven, which closely resembled the one we are in right now, continued the second muffin, they quickly realized it was getting hotter. The muffins were bouncing around and giggling, trying to adapt to the rising temperature. But things took an unforeseen turn when the oven door suddenly swung open. Startled, the muffins tumbled out onto the kitchen counter. And guess who they found standing there? Who? Who was it? The first muffin eagerly asked. It was a mischievous little gingerbread man, said the second muffin. You see, he had been kicked out of the oven by mistake, and he was up to no good, trying to prank the poor muffins. He heard them giggling, and his mischievous nature got the better of him. So, when he saw the muffins tumble out, he couldn't resist, and with a sly grin, he asked, is it getting hot in here or is it just me? The first muffin burst into laughter. Oh, that gingerbread man sure knew how to play a joke. But wait, here's the best part, said the second muffin, pride evident in its voice. The muffins, being a resilient bunch, quickly regained their footing and turned the tables on the gingerbread man. They outsmarted him and managed to sprinkle some powdered sugar on him. The gingerbread man was covered from head to toe in white, looking like a mischievous snowman. And as he tried to shake it off, the muffins laughed so hard they started to crumble. The first muffin couldn't stop laughing. That gingerbread man thought he was so clever, but the muffins had the last laugh. And that, my friend, concluded the second muffin, is the tale of how 2 baking adventures intertwined, resulting in a hilarious oven encounter here and countless laughter in Muffinville. The first muffin was in tears of laughter. It realized that even in the heat of the oven, a good story could bring joy and make the sizzling situation a little brighter. The third muffin sitting in the back of the oven said, holy shit, 2 talking muffins. One day, God asked Adam how things were going with Eve. Adam, pretty good, I guess. God, you seem to be holding back. Do you have any questions? Adam, well, why did you make her so much more beautiful than me? God, so you would enjoy looking at her. Adam, and why did you make her skin so much softer than mine? God, so you would enjoy. Adam, and why did you make her smell so much better than me? God, so you would want to be around her all the time. You see, Adam, I made Eve just for you, to make you happy. Adam, then why did you make her so stupid? God, well Adam, if I had made her any smarter, she never would have slept with a guy like you.